had some very rough dudes as protesters. We had one that his voice was like Pavarotti, Luciano Pavarotti, and he was a tough guy, and he was swinging and hitting people. And then people turned on him and started swinging at him, and ultimately they were successful, and we got bad publicity for it. It wasn't their fault. I mean, this guy was a pretty tough cookie and a very loud guy. I don't mind the loud, but he was a very violent. And the next day it was like he was this innocent little lamb, and I saw what happened. He was very violent. So we don't go in there first. They start, and usually it's not us anyway, Don. Usually it's the police. I mean, we have police forces all over the country who have done a fantastic job, but usually it's the police force.
Well,
that's the way it
the
goes.
protesters will say, well, that's only highlighting why they're there protesting about the police, is that police are being heavy-handed in their communities and now are being heavy-handed at your rallies. So it seems to be making their case if that is indeed what you're saying right now.
Well, let me just say, let me tell you how unfair things are. Like, I'm watching CNN right now, and I have seen the same scene on CNN for the last hour and a half. The same, in other words, you take the worst scene. If you really look at it, if you really want to look at it, most of the people have dispersed, and we made a great decision not to have the rally. But you continuously show the same scene of the guy in the green jacket taking a swing at somebody else. And I've been watching it for the last hour, more than an hour.
Of course we do, and there's a distinction about.
I mean, you're covering it live. Don, you shouldn't be showing the same one scene over and over and over again. You should be showing it live.
Well, what we're doing is showing an example of the violence that happens. Just as when you're on the campaign trail, you use examples of the worst of things in order to make a point. And so now we're looking live.
You don't have anything saying that it's not live, and frankly, it says Donald Trump speaks live with Don.
Okay, so what you're looking at right now is live.
You're showing a scene that took place 2 hours ago, Don, and it's not good reporting. It's not fair.
What you're looking at right now is live, Mr. Trump. This is live. These are the streets of Chicago outside.
Yeah, but if you look at that, that's a very small portion of the people. Yeah. Most of them have been dispersed.
So just to be clear, I want to ask you.
They're safe. There's very few people hurt. And we should be given credit for that. We made a very wise decision as opposed to going forward, leaving and postponing it for another time. It was a wise decision. Now, at the same time, all of the Trump supporters have been really treated unfairly because First Amendment says we have a right to speak. I mean, we have a friendly rally. We have a right to speak, and we were stopped from having that right of freedom of speech.
Are you going to postpone every rally because of the threat of protesters?
Well, would you like me to have them, Don, and you'd like to see people killed?
I'm just asking you the question. Are you going to do it?
I don't know. It depends on a case by case. But I mean, if you'd like me to have them, and people would have been hurt very badly tonight. I mean, again, I'm looking at scenes that just a little.
This
while
is
ago,
live, Mr. Trump. You're looking at these are live scenes.
I'm talking about. I've been watching all these scenes so many times ago, and they're 2 hours old.
Mr. Trump, I have to ask you just for clarification.
Most of the people have been dispersed, and we've been given great credit. And law enforcement gave us great credit for making the right decision.
Mr. Trump, I have to ask you just for clarification. You have no regrets about anything that you have said?
We have had great success. We have fantastic support, and we have fantastic supporters. We have said strong things when people were wrong. When people were wrong, we have said some very, very strong things. Now, getting back to before tonight, when I talk about illegal immigration, I have no regret whatsoever. If I didn't bring up illegal immigration, it wouldn't even be a subject of the campaign, Don. It's become a very, very important subject. And if I didn't bring it up, people wouldn't even be talking about it. And frankly, it's really hurting our country badly in a lot of ways. From a crime standpoint and from an economic standpoint and from a drug standpoint, drugs are pouring into our country through the southern border. It's hurting our country very, very badly. So if you think I should say, oh, gee, it's too bad I brought up the problem of illegal immigration at our southern border in particular, I am not at all. I'm very proud.
What about in particular the things that you have said in rallies about taking them out on stretchers and that sort of thing? Do you have any regrets about what you have said about protesters?
These were bad. No, I don't have regrets because these were very, very bad protesters. These were bad dudes. They were very rough, tough guys, and they did a lot of damage before they were taken out. And they weren't taken out on stretchers, frankly. They weren't. They ended up doing damage. Nobody talks about them. Nobody mentions when the protester is a violent protester, and that happens, and it happens not often, but it happens. And when it does, I will talk about that protester much differently than I talk about most, where we just have fun.
Okay, I have to ask you this, Mr. Trump. David Gergen says that the candidate sets a tone for the campaign, okay? But my question is that you say that you want to be a unifier in chief. You say you can be presidential and show leadership. Moving forward, what are you going to do about this?
Well, I don't like seeing violence at all. I'm not a person that wants to see violence. I'm not a person that wants to see people hurt. And that's why I put out the statement before, and it said, go home in peace. And that was important to me to put that down. So I'm not somebody that wants to see. Now, you have certain groups that are agitating groups that also, these are people that cause problems, and they have caused problems, and they're happy to cause problems, and they stop the right of free speech for other groups that are totally nonviolent groups of people. But people, nevertheless, Don, they're not angry people, but they're very angry right now about the way our country's run. They're very angry at the fact that our jobs are going to Mexico and China and Japan and every other country except ours. They're
Do
very
you think
angry.
it would help, Mr. Trump, if you met with some of these protesters to try to understand what they
Well, I
have to
wouldn't
say?
mind meeting them if the meeting was in good faith. But, a lot of them don't. They just have fun. They make this a career. I mean, this is a career. Protesting is a business for them.
But it doesn't happen like this at any other rallies but your rallies.
If I thought I was meeting with people, because I know more about protesters than you'll ever know. Okay, I've been having protesters all my life. I've been having protesters on construction sites for years and years and years. I know more about protesting and protesters than you'll ever know, Don. And I will tell you, I don't mind meeting with protesters as long as I know that it's in good spirit and they're not professional agitators.
So if you are willing to meet with them, as you said, what would you say to them?
Well, I wouldn't say to you right now what I say to them, because I wouldn't do that. I don't want to waste a lot of people's time and the audience's time. But it depends on the situation. But I've had protesters all my life. I've never had any problems. And frankly, I think we did a good job tonight. I think a lot of people are giving us a lot of credit. That instead of going in, and it would have been actually much easier to do, going in, making a speech, perhaps having some major clashes, and certainly maybe the real problem was going out. We had 25,000 people that signed up and that wanted to come, and we were able to keep many of them away by informing them earlier that we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing. But, a lot of people are giving us a lot of credit.
Will you tell your supporters to ease up on the protesters, on the violence?
Well, the protesters are really some of them are very violent, and I'm not even sure they can control themselves. I think the people that are at our place I fill up stadiums. We have 35,000 people. Last week we had 25,000 people in Florida. I have very large rallies, and there's tremendous support. And you know it better than anybody. You cover it, but there's tremendous support. And I have to tell you, Don, there's a lot of love in the room. People love the country. They want to see the country. The whole theme is "Make America Great Again."
Well, but Mr. Trump, the reason I asked
it.
you the question earlier about your tone and how you inspire people, obviously you have inspired people, thousands and thousands of people every single day to show up at rallies all over the country. They're coming to see you. If your words can inspire them to cheer, to go to the polls and vote, to speak out for you, don't you think your words in some way can inspire them to violence and incite violence as well? Don't you understand that you can't say in one tone,
No,
well, I'm getting people to vote for me, but my words have meaning, but then on the other
violence.
hand, my words don't have meaning when it comes to another particular issue.
Yeah, well, I certainly don't incite violence, and I don't condone violence, and I don't talk about violence. Now, if a protester is hitting a woman, or if a protester is swinging his fist at a man or a group of men, and if they end up going back, I'm not looking to do him any favors, frankly, because that's the way life is. Yeah. But I certainly don't condone violence, and it's not acceptable to me.
Yeah.